Hey everybody. On this episode of Meet the Coaches, we're talking to Heat. Heat's one of our most longtime coaches at GGBC, and additionally, he runs his own coaching community that you can get a link for in the description. I hope you enjoy. Hey everybody. Today on Meet the Coaches, we have Heat. Heat, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Heat. As Woostis just mentioned, I have been a coach with GGBC basically ever since it started. I was brought onto the team originally by Waltz, 1 week after the Discord server was first created. I have been in the Overwatch scene essentially ever since the game came out, coaching a wide variety of different heroes, mostly DPS and off tanks, but a little bit of other scattered roles here and there as well. Let's see. I first started my coaching career through collegiate Overwatch. Actually, I was the captain of Emory University's Overwatch team, and that was how I got my first experience trying to teach up our new players, try to basically make sure everybody was on the same page, bring people up, and that's what initially spurred my interest in coaching everybody.
Very interesting. So you started coaching at Emory, which is funny because I actually have a very, very good friend who goes to Emory. What?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why did you start coaching? What made you think, man, this seems kind of cool. Let's start doing this.
So it was one of those things where I hadn't put a single thought into coaching for most of my life up until I became the captain of a team. And then a big part of my responsibility was when we were doing tryouts and trying to get everybody ready was one-on-one coaching. And so it was the kind of thing where I got my first taste of it there, and I was like, this is the kind of thing that I really enjoy despite not really having focused on it at all. I wonder if I can do this with other people as well. And then that's what led me to GGBC at the time. And back in the original days, we were mostly just a tiny organization that was focused more on, hey, if you queued up in a game and it seemed like a couple people wanted to stick around and try and group up for future matches. That was a way of trying to, get everybody together and start practicing. And so it originally started off that way, just trying to help, a couple of people here and there. But as the organization got bigger and bigger, the one-on-one coaching really kept going from there.
Yeah, I think actually you definitely joined. I think a month or two before me. Yeah, that was a good time. I remember those good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were nice. So you mentioned that kind of you and Waltz got in touch. Do you remember kind of how you and Waltz got together? Were you guys playing together?
So funnily enough, yes. So in the collegiate season, the way that that's organized is through an organization called TESPA, which is partnered with Blizzard. Basically, they run all of the tournaments surrounding it. So the season started in the fall, and we had our team, and we were doing all right for ourselves. But the problem was, people started falling off and couldn't make as many of the practices, and then weren't showing up to games. So our team was starting to look a little bit dicey around December, but out of nowhere, Waltz just one day showed up and said, "Hey, I like to play Overwatch. I'm a Grandmaster player. Can I join?" And at that point, Grandmaster was a big deal because this was back in season 3, and we're like, "Yeah, no, absolutely, please come join this team." And so he and I were both DPS players for our roster and the two highest ranked players. And based off of that, we played a lot, duoed, got to know each other, and then that's sort of how I got involved with all of this.
That's really interesting because after that team stopped, Waltz joined WBC Ice with me.
Did he really?
Yeah, and
That's
we
so
played
funny.
together for a long time. He was our projectile DPS back when
Oh, go
Fair
figure.
Mercy was broken.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's actually really interesting. I didn't
Yep.
know you guys ever played together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you mentioned you used to play DPS, but nowadays you mostly coach. What would you say is your favorite hero to coach?
So my favorite hero to coach is definitely Genji. I was very much a Genji one trick back, especially when I first started. I really wanted to play other heroes, and so I had this pretty solid DPS pool about the time that I started coaching. But my Genji was my best hero, and so that was sort of what I became known for. And because I've been playing him for so long now, especially as he's researched sort of back into the meta with with the buffs and whatnot. I've been working on this hero for so long, I know the ins and outs, that it's always fun for me to go back and look at him because there's a lot of nuance to playing him and managing your abilities about, when to go for the left clicks versus the right clicks and, making sure that you get your dash resets properly and not committing too early. So I really enjoy the nuance of Genji. But if I did have to pick an honorable mention, I'd have to go with Sombra, honestly, because there's so much minute decision making that goes into like where to put her translocator and making sure that you can get in and out of fights properly, hack the right targets, but then not reposition too far out of the fight and end up being useless. So I think they're really fun to go and look at because there's always a lot to comment on and a lot of space that can be improved.
Interesting, yeah. So you see students playing Genji.
Yep.
What mistakes do they make the most?
Okay, so there is the single longest running mistake that I've seen is Genji's dashing up, like straight up, no cover, middle of the map before Dragon Blade is one of the most infuriating things that I see. I have been commenting on this literally ever since I began coaching, but it's a terrible decision for a wide variety of reasons. First of all, going all the way up shows your entire hand. It makes it very obvious that you're going for Dragon Blade. Pulling the sword out gives you a full second of only being able to use your double jump and, WASD for movement, so you can very easily be stunned out of it. You can get sleep darted, Roadhog can hook you. It's just generally a terrible idea. It gives everybody time to back up as well and get out of that initial dashing distance. That drives me insane. It's I'm gonna have like conniptions at some point because of even still to this day, people think that it's the right way that you're supposed to do things. And getting to high ground before you use it is fine, but just dashing up in front of everybody with no cover is just suicide against good players.
Yeah, I'll definitely say I don't play as much Genji, and I definitely do that more than I should.
It's all good.
Yeah. It's nice only for the Ana, because it's very easy to hit your Genji with the Nano, but unfortunately it's also easy for the other Ana to hit your Genji when they're in the air like that. Yeah. So when you're coaching and you're seeing all your Genji students dash up in the air, what would you say is your methodology? How do you go about a session? How's it structured? What do you talk about?
Sure. So my major focus, especially coming from like a very organized collegiate background, is more macro focused than micro focused. And what I mean by that is not so much on here are these like things that you can do to improve your mechanics really quickly, but more like what are you trying to do on your hero? Like every single hero in this game has a job, because in a competitive setting, if your hero didn't have a job, then why even bother playing them, right? So I'd really like to focus first on like what a hero's job is, what you typically want to be looking for, what they're good at versus what they're not good at, and then really try to break down decision making. Part of that is sure, maybe you can improve your combos, these ways, or save abilities for certain situations. But I really like to try and improve people's decision making and understanding the game more so than just like your strafing is a little bit off or something to that effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that totally. I think I focus on a lot of the same stuff. The only part that I kind of thought was strange was when you said coming from an organized collegiate background, because I also work in collegiate a lot. And
oh, that's fair.
I wouldn't necessarily call it organized.
It's not fully organized. Put differently, stacking deliberately against other six stacks instead of just, solo queue, basically.
Yeah.
Just like organizing things as a team. So.
Yeah, I work with University of Illinois, ILL, for anyone watching. But they're great. I must say they're awesome. We're actually doing at the time of recording, we're doing our Valorant tryouts tonight. So I've been
really awesome.
Planning that a lot.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited. So you've been coaching for almost 5 years now. Plus
pretty much.
Emory before that. So what is your favorite part about coaching?
My favorite part about coaching is getting to work with individuals. I mean, a big thing that we do at GGBC is that it's free coaching. We're not just here, for money. Like, I really do enjoy watching people get better. And there's nothing more satisfying than seeing like, someone comes up to me, I have issues with X, Y, and Z, can you please help me? And then, like, you go and you work with them and, whatever, you might go your separate ways. But then, like, a month or two later, it's, hey, I hit my big rank goal. I moved up. This really helped me. Nothing makes it worth it more than, like, those messages, like, later on about people actually legitimately getting better. It's so amazing to hear.
I'm definitely gonna have to change this question because I always
Uh-huh.
ask what's the favorite part about coaching, and no one
Uh-huh.
doesn't say the messages.
The messages are you?
It's
That's
it's
too funny.
always the messages, and they're just awesome. But I am gonna have to change the question because
No, don't worry about it. I'm
it's
I'm here to answer anything else you might want, but
no,
yeah.
no, no. It's really great. I love hearing it. For future people, I'll make it like, what's your number one, past experience. But if you guys are
That
listening
makes
to
sense.
this, send messages to your coaches. we really
Yeah,
do
please
enjoy
do. We
having
like to hear it.
sessions. Yeah. We love to see your progress. It fuels us to continue coaching and to continue helping other people. Well, Heat, it's been
Mm-hmm.
a true pleasure. This was definitely a little bit of a longer episode, but
Oh, for
I
sure.
think we had a great conversation about the past coaching, collegiate a little bit, and all the fun stuff that goes into playing Genji. If you guys
Mm-hmm.
want Heat as your own Genji coach, come down to GGBC. He would be more than happy to teach you, him or one of our other wonderful, wonderful coaches, including myself. Um, until then, Heat, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been great. Bye bye.
Bye.